Hello everyone on TikTok, on Twitch, on YouTube. It is Friday. It is Friday, April 19th. On Tuesdays and on Fridays and sometimes on Thursdays, I do go live. So that's what you're seeing right now. Anytime you see this screen, that means I am live. I know I had a couple comments that people didn't like that I was interrupting the video to talk to the chat, but I think it's very important to talk to chat who takes time out of their day to spend time with myself. So, a couple of things. Number one, if you want to follow me on any social platform, it's down here. Bacon Bears, two Z's. I upload a YouTube video once a week. I'm on TikTok. TikTok is probably the biggest platform that I'm on all of the time. Um, and we've been talking about Ruby Franke a lot lately. What are my credentials? I am a mother of two, and it just completely blows and boggles my mind. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over the summary of the 60-page journal of Ruby Franke, which has been released. I have my thoughts about her as a person, or less than a person, because I think she's a terrible human being. Hi Jess, how are you? I think that the abuse started long before Jody Hildebrand showed up. I think that Kevin Franke is not getting the recognition that he deserves for these children. I'm good. I'm good. Today we're discussing Ruby Franke. Um, so I um I I think all of this happened, and I think when she met Jody, these two worlds collided, and they just, I don't know, everything got magnified, and it's awful and it's horrendous. I will give you guys a trigger warning. Some of the things that we will be talking about today that Ruby did to her children is horrendous. I know that there's a lot that's redacted from the journals, which is crazy to me because what they left in, I can't imagine what they took out. And other than that, we will be getting into it. I know that these are going to be long. Hello, Ember. How are you? Good morning. These are going to be kind of long. I'm not the best reader, but you guys can find them on the internet yourself if you would like to. I'm going to switch screens right now here. And this is what we're going to be reading from. I did find this on Reddit. Somebody was able to take it and type it all out, which is great because Ruby Franke's handwriting is very difficult for me to read. So we are going to get started. This will be a page-by-page highlight summary of what is said in the document. I will be including dates, months, reference, not years, as this was all 2023. So this was all last year, as well as quotes, important information about what happened as concisely and respectfully as possible. Anything with quotation marks is directly from Ruby, and the rest is in summary of my own words. I will not be including my own opinions and commentary, even though I would love to rip these monsters apart. Also, Jody is referred to as Jijo for some reason, so that means Jody. So let's just get started. These date ranges are from 5/21 to 7/15, and this is more of a timeline done by Ruby. Also, I'm going to turn this music off. Give me one. I thought I was going to play music. I thought wrong. Not wrong. I thought music would be a nice touch. It is not. This is not about happiness. This is about talking about these poor children. Also, I think that Ruby was using the problem is that I know spiritual psychosis is a thing, right? And a lot of people are going to say that that's what she had or that's what she was in, and I don't know if I necessarily buy that because there's a lot of things in here where the demons, right? The demons that she says are taking over her children are not separate from the children. And you'll see what I mean later. So these are the first entries, page 2. Are her son. So you have to remember that her son is 12. He's the 12-year-old boy that escaped heroically out of this house. And thank you, Mr. Pike. He is 12, escaped from this house and went to go get police. And E is her youngest daughter, and E will be 10, I believe. So just to remember that. R is her 12-year-old son, and E is her almost 10-year-old daughter. R refuses to do wall sits and says he is done. R, I El Jacquard. Hi, how are you? R is to stay outside, sleep outside. Only comes into bathroom and shower. First and foremost, I believe, especially in this case, eye for an eye, because she made her kids sleep outside. She refused them food. She refused them um, bathrooms and baths and all of these heinous things. Yet she's going to go to a climate controlled prison with 3 meals a day and a bed and clothes and shoes. I think that even being in prison, she is going to be afforded a lot more luxuries than she ever gave her son or her daughter or her other kids, for that matter. He refuses to work, screams, has hair shaved off. Quote from Ruby Franke. Um, R runs away around 1:15 a.m. and Ruby finds him at 3:14 a.m. Jody, E, and J, I don't know who J is, drive to Arizona and find property land. So, um, she's forcing her kids to sleep outside. Now, remember, they are in. Are they? I can't remember. They were moving to Arizona. I believe they're in Utah at the time. A punishment that she finds fitting for her daughter screaming and refusing to work is to shave her hair off. And R runs away around 1:15 and Ruby finds him at 3:15, and I remember that I believe was the time that they brought him back, and she tied her son to herself so that he couldn't get away again. Pages 3 to 7 are completely redacted. So this is page 8. This is now July. R's birthday is the 10th and he turns 12. I never envisioned him being 12 and still pooping and peeing himself. I need to know where she is summarizing these. Sadly, prison is a better place to stay than the real world these days. Hold on one second. Let me find I guess I'm going to have to try to read full entries. No, I don't want a video though. I'd like to see. I thought this was a better version. Hold on. Complete transcription. There we go. That's what I want. Didn't want to complicate things. Up. Okay. Here we go. This is better. So, let's see. A 60-page journal kept by 41-year-old Ruby Franke, who, along with her confidant, 55-year-old Jody Hildebrandt, is in prison for 4 counts of aggravated child abuse, outlines the training process that resulted in the torture and abuse of Franke's 2 youngest children. The journals were recovered by investigators shortly after the pair's arrest in August 2023 and encompasses dozens of pages authored by Franke, starting in the middle of May, when she brought her 2 youngest children to live with Hildebrandt in a remote, affluent area of Ivins, Utah. Okay. Jody Hildebrandt Jody Hildebrandt's residence of 10,000 square feet is in the remote area of Ivins, Utah. What am I hearing? Hold on. That's my dog. Okay, sorry. That's a big house. So that's the other thing, 10,000 square feet. It is also important to remember that in this house, she was running an Airbnb while they were actively torturing these children. 3 hots and a cot, no rent, no bills, access to library, internet, and the gym. I am out of breath. I ran. Okay. Oh, God. The final journal entry was dated on or about August 25th, 5 days before the pair was arrested in Santa Clara Ivans. Police officers found one of the children partially bound and emaciated. Over the course of 3 months, Franke outlined the training program that was implemented with the intent to remove the evil from her 9-year-old daughter and her 12-year-old son, whom Franke describes as the spawns of Satan. Would that make you Satan? I believe yes. Ruby Franke described the program as an intervention for the possessed. Now, I really wish that I knew how they allegedly, right? How these children got here, right? What happened in the time that they were 0 and 10 and 0 and 12 that they were taken over by Satan? Like, where does that start? How is she unscathed? As a 40-year-old woman, how is she unscathed and never been touched by Satan? Who who protected her from Satan? Is this something every child goes through? Is this something that her parents did to her? Like, where did she? I don't understand, like, where these ideas started. And I gotta be honest with you, I don't buy that she believes that it was a religious thing. If you go back and you watch old footage of 8 Passengers and you go back and you watch the way that she treated her children, Ruby Franke is the epitome of a bully. She is a bully. She is emotionally immature. She thrives off of punishing her children. She laughs at their punishments. She boasts about them through, her YouTube channel, and she enjoys having what is happening here? Having control of her children. Stripping down a child's world to the basics of beans and rice and hard work would be considered abuse, Franke wrote. But it was no. See, here's the thing. Oddly enough, the husband was serving as a buffer. Once he was gone, the wheels came off. And I agree with that. I agree with that to a point, because I think Kevin had more to do with it than any. Am I Mormon? No. No, personally, I'm not Mormon. Than we think, because there were times that he came out on the 8 Passengers channel and he was talking about his oldest son and about the things that they did to the oldest son, and he didn't see anything wrong with that. And he's like, people are saying that, it's not abuse. The whole thing is repulsive. I agree with you. The entire thing is repulsive. Kevin was also abusive, but I don't think as cruel as Ruby. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. Let's see. Also, this part right here, stripping down a child's world to the basics of beans and rice and hard work would be considered abuse. At least in that case, you'd be feeding the child, because there's a lot of times that withholding food was your choice of abuse, Ruby. But it was necessary for the prideful, demon-possessed child. In the writings, the program consisted of extended periods of exposure to the elements. One day in July, after the older child was forced to work for hours in the hot sun, Franke took old mop water and poured it over the child. The reason that a lot of people are like, why are you talking about this case? Like, why are you so Like, just stop paying attention to it. Stop giving it any sort of, attention. And here's the thing. I am a mother who is chronically online. I love being online. I love interacting with people. That's for me. Family vloggers make me sick. I think that profiting off of the backs of your children and doing that in an invasive way is disgusting. Um, and the reason that I want to shed a light on this is because I think it's very important to shed a light on family vlogging in general. For me, this isn't just about the abuse that Ruby and Jody did. Like, yes, it is sort of about that, but to me, it's also about the fact that she was able to do this with a camera in front of millions of people because they amassed over 2 million people on their YouTube channel, and she was able to profit off of the backs of her children while abusing them. Children not being protected in their home is one thing. Children not being protected on public platforms, I think, is another. And I think that YouTube, or Twitch or TikTok or all these things have a responsibility, or if they are going to allow parents to use their children to profit, then there needs to be some rules into place. How much time, like the Coogan laws, right? How much time are these kids on video? How much video time do they get? Where does this money go? Where does any of this money go? Also, the adverse psychological impact of palate fatigue, extreme food restriction options. There's so much at work here. There's the fact that she's telling them that innately they're just evil. She's telling them, out of one side of her mouth how evil they are and how terrible they are and how mean they are to her, but also she loves them. These children are, the extensive therapy that these children are going to need is just heartbreaking. In the writings, oh, I already read that. Okay, old mop water imported on the child. Also, and that's the thing, I can never imagine. I yell at my kids sometimes and then I cry. I immediately apologize. I can't imagine. I don't know. This is also coming from a woman and a husband who we don't spank our children. I grew up in a hitting household. I don't find any reason to hit children. Period. So I'm never going to get through this. Also in July, both children were told to stand in the sun since only the demons stay in the shade. Which is such an interesting thing because this bitch was always in the house. You and Jody in air conditioning and in shade, bitch. How ironic. When the children refused, Franke used a cactus poker to force the children back into the sun. The heat the children were exposed to was not as hot as the heat in hell, Franke wrote, telling her daughter that that was where the child would burn along with the rest of the wicked. So either get used to it or start changing, she told the child. Here's one thing I want to talk about with this. Ruby is somebody, and this is why I have such a hard time believing that she's like, oh, it's the way that you're supposed to comfort children, and I was brainwashed by Jody, and or not comfort, teach children, and I was brainwashed by Jody, and all of these things. Ruby consistently moves the goalpost, and there are a lot of abusive parents out there that will tell you, oh, well, you just need to clean your room, but they never show you how to clean your room, and your room is never clean because it's always a punishment. There's always a reason. They always need a reason to punish you. I am speaking from personal experience. If you grow up in a household where people continue to change the rules and there's never any consistency and you don't know what is expected of you, there is always areas for punishment. And that's what she wants, is an opportunity to punish these children. So either get used to it or start changing. Change to what? What are the expectations? What are you saying that what is the goal? How can a child change into what you expect from them? Children are not shown by what you say, they are shown by how you do it. But also, what's the end goal? What am I supposed to be? Water was restricted. And whenever the children were caught drinking water from one of the garden hoses outside, Franke wrote that they were stealing water. He admits to stealing water 3 times yesterday. He lies and feels no remorse, which is insanity to me. You can't steal something from your own home that is required for you to live. He's drinking water. And it's so funny when you see how she writes it too, you can just see the control in how she writes these things, right? He stole water. Yeah, he's thirsty. He's trying to survive. You're forcing him to live without food. So the only thing that he has is water, and then you come and you say he's stealing it. Who's giving it to you? Aren't you just taking water from the faucet? Aren't you just taking food from the fridge? Who are you stealing it from then? In Texas and Arizona, you are required by law to give water to people, even from your hose, if they just walk up. Well, they're in Utah, so they don't have to do anything, El Jacad. They can just do whatever they want. They just make up the rules, okay? Ugh. He admits to stealing water 3 times yesterday. He lies and feels no remorse. He lies. That's the other thing, is no matter what he says, she always just says, you're lying. You're lying. He admitted to stealing. He admitted to drinking water. That's the truth. Is that not honesty? Yes. I took water. That is an honest statement. Food was restricted according to several of the entries, which food restriction was something that Jody used far before Jody Hildebrandt ever walked into the picture. Food restriction was something that Ruby put in her 8 Passengers channel and said that she did with her children. There is an infamous video out about how her youngest daughter, forgot her lunch, or lied, said that she made her lunch, didn't make her lunch, didn't bring it to school, and then Ruby was just like, yeah, don't feed her. She doesn't get to eat. Sorry. Because your 6-year-old in the relationship between mother and daughter is supposed to be the responsible one. Also, I'm sorry. As a stay-at-home mother, that's your job. As a stay-at-home mother, it is your job to provide foods and meals for your children. That's literally your job. Stay-at-home mom. What are you doing? What are you doing with this time? Also, if you want to put the responsibility of your 6-year-old, right, making a lunch for herself and then taking it to school, maybe follow through. Also, another amazing job of the mother. A mother is supposed to follow through when you set up a responsibility or you set up an expectation for your child. You have to make sure that they follow through with the task. You also have to see it through because they are children. Also, and feels no remorse. Yeah, he feels no remorse because he took water because he's trying to survive. Okay. Food was restricted according to several of the entries. Both children were forced to endure days without food or water to invite them to be humble. There is another clip of her saying that her children will not get breakfast until they do their chores. One of the punishments for one of her kids in the vlogs was that they would not have dinner. Their dinner would be taken away. if they didn't do whatever it was that they were supposed to do. So food restriction has been on her abuse card for a very long time. Following a 2-day fast for her daughter, Franke wrote she has hardened her heart and will do one more day of fasting. If you want food, then be prepared to tell the truth about your behaviors. I will not feed a demon. Has anybody heard the term hangry? Do you know what might humble her a little bit? A good meal. Give her something to eat. Of course, she's going to harden and get cold and have an attitude. She's not eating. Imagine how irritated you are when you're like, I need a snack or I need some water. Also, Ruby is eating. She's eating. In one entry, Franke says she placed her daughter in a dog bath and shaved the youngster's head for not following instructions. All her long hair is gone. No more distracting with hair. Who was she distracting? Who was she distracting? What is distracting about hair? It's not distracting. Her hair was not distracting. When somebody feels so entitled to your person and shaves your head, it's not about distraction. It's about you having the ability to take away a part of who she is without her having any say. That's all it is. Part of the program required the children to perform repetitive tasks that include carrying boxes up and down the stairs for entire days, in part to show them the value of hard work. Good works need to be painful, she wrote of the exercises. It's about ownership of another person. Exactly. It's about control and it's about ownership. Now, here's this, right? Like, you have them carrying boxes for no reason up and down stairs to show them hard work. Again, work, there is an end goal. What is the end goal? What is the work? You're just giving them a task that there's no substance to it. Also, why aren't you doing the work? You want to talk about showing your kids hard work? You made millions off of a vlogging channel. These things are not hard work. Go do anything else. Go do any job that requires you to get a W-2, bitch. Like, be a waitress, be a garbage man, be a construction worker, lay carpet, be a lawyer, be any of these things. Go do anything else. But you want to show your children what hard work is, yet you're a stay-at-home mom who has a vlogging channel? And you made your money not because you're interesting, but people watched you because you were abusive to your 6 children, and you made money off the backs of them and being invasive to them, talking about periods, talking about shaving their legs, talking about them wetting their beds. You made money off of the backs of humiliating your children. But you need to teach them about hard work. Yet, did you ever do one wall sit? Did you ever carry a box up and down stairs? I'm going to be mad this whole time. This whole time. Anyways. And also, it is very easy to show your kids how to do hard work and manual labor without it being extremely hard work and manual labor. You know what my 4-year-old was doing with me? Going me outside, pulling weeds. I'm sure Ruby Franke has never pulled a fucking weed in her life. But me and my daughter got out there and she pulled them with me because I was pulling them. You know how you show kids how to do hard work? You do it yourself. In one instance, Frankie explained the reason for the task to the 9-year-old. It's because you follow Satan that you keep doing boxes. How is she following Satan? And that's the other thing. She never truly gives an explanation of what the satanic actions are, right? She talks about how they are disobedient to her, which I guess she's the end all be all. That they lie even though they tell her the truth. They're not remorseful. I'm trying to argue logic with not logic. If the children behaved, their mother would say that they were being deceptive. Okay, so here we go. We're moving the goalpost again, right? If they behaved. Now, the children actually did what Ruby was asking of them. And she says, no, you're being deceptive. There is no way that these kids could do anything that would make her happy, because none of this is about Satan. None of this is about religion. It's about control and punishment of these children. So even if they were doing what she asked of them, they still got punished. And they would be punished. So there was nothing they could do to end the cycle of torture. Exactly. Near the end, Ruby resorted to hog tying R up and handcuffing and tying a rope between R and Ruby, or 2 weights, so he could not run away. She even watched him shower. He's going to be 12. And then stuck him in a closet in the bathroom while she showered, so he was not out of sight. Disgusting. The scariest part was that E's wailing and R's running away put them in danger of being caught. They were looking for an isolated piece of land in Arizona where they could escalate their torture, and likely would not have survived this move or gotten rescued. 1000% agree. I think that if R didn't escape and go get help, that the 2 of them would not have made it. Number 1. And number 2, I wonder if R ran away and got help because he felt that way. So now this is a PDF of the handwritten journal here. Okay, so here's the initial key. Let's remember that E is her youngest daughter and she is 9. R is 11 at this time. J is 14. A is 15. So there are 4 children. S is 20. Oh, S is Sherry, right? And C is their other boy. Bye, El Jacad. Hi, Crayon. How are you? So the first page is blacked out. A lot of things are redacted, which I don't wish I knew what they were. But I'm curious as to why they would redact them, honestly. Because what's left in is disgusting. So Jody receives a blessing from the temple president, Steve Kaplan. Ruby, A, J, R, and E come down to Jody's to help spring clean. Because Ruby, one of the things that she likes to do is subcontract her kids out to be cleaning people. Meet Jeremy Jaggy. I don't know who that is. And then there's a blacked out section. Jody goes to SLC to meet with Jeremy and Brad. And Ruby writes, R refuses to do wall sits. He says he is done. R is to stay outside, sleep outside, only come in to use the bathroom and shower. R turns 12 tomorrow. I never envisioned him being 12 and still peeing and pooping himself. Satanic choices lead one to become destitute. even in the most affluent homes. I It's R's birthday and he doesn't even know what month it is. How is he supposed to? Like, that's the dumbest thing to write. Do you have a calendar in the house? E and R have been in so have been in so much deviant behavior. They won't control their bodily functions. Can they? These children are being tortured. They're being abused. Can they control themselves? I'm sure you get to a point of hysteria when you're not sleeping, you're not eating, you don't have enough water. They're both furious that their selfish, sinful lifestyle is being intervened upon. What I wish she would explain what it was about these children that got her here, right? And again, I don't believe that any of this is about Satan or the devil or that she was brainwashed. I don't buy it one bit. Not one bit. Um but if you think that they're liars, well, okay. The question that I'm about to ask is going to be, is there any self-reflection? And the answer is no. The answer is very much no. But if your child is a habitual liar, right, and has terrible behavior and doesn't listen and is deviant and sneaky and all these things, instead of Satan, wouldn't that be parenting? If this were true, could it be parenting? Also, I want to know how come it was E and R and not J and A. I know J and A were subcontracted out to be cleaners or like house workers at Pam Botcher's house, but I don't know if they got the same treatment as the youngest two, which it's interesting that you continue to pick on the youngest two, the most vulnerable. How tough of you, Ruby. Ah, boy. I told R he emulates a snake. He slithers and sneaks around looking for opportunities when no one is watching, and then he scurries. If he wants to emulate the Savior, he needs to be 100% obedient with exactness. No wandering, no hiding. Imagine writing that about not only a child, but your child. Like, just the hate that is exhibited in that sentence. He emulates a snake. And the other thing is, he needs to be 100% obedient with exactness. So there's no room for mistakes, according to Ruby. You get no buffers. You don't get to be a human. Humans are flawed. Humans will make mistakes. Humans need to learn through mistakes. That's how we learn how to do things. And 100% obedient to who? To you? Children are supposed to test boundaries and figure out what they can and can't get away with. That's how they learn. That's the point. Child, like when children have defiant behavior, it's because they're trying to see what they can and can't get away with at home. Also, believe it or not, children will be bad and defiant to get attention and love from their mothers or their parents. Because if good behavior doesn't get them the attention that they want, then they will go to bad behavior. Honestly, as a mother of two children, like I really think that every person who has a baby should be required to go through a parenting class. Not saying that we all need it. I mean, we could all use it. There's no manual. But like some of this stuff is just like regular children stuff. Another section is redacted. I told R that he needs God. I invited him to fast and pray. Did you invite him or did you take his food away? Because that's different. It's very different. R is out of control. R is in and out of possession. He is workable and calm for a bit, then angry and defiant the next. Yeah, probably because he's hungry and hot and tired, and he hasn't slept in a bed, in a house. The only consistent thing is he lies, which he's proven, and she has written that he's told the truth, but it doesn't matter because she doesn't want to see that, so she just talks about him lying anyways. E is better behaved with Jody. Of course she is. A lot of times, again, children are better behaved with people they don't trust. If your child feels safe with you and they trust you, then they're able to break down. They're able to release. They're able to let their big emotions go. They have big emotions. They have the same size emotions that we do as adults, but they don't know how to manage them. But what they can do while they're in school or while they're with a babysitter or while whatever, when they are not with their parents or the people that they trust the most, they are able to keep it all in. And then when they get around the people that they love and they are trusting of and they are supposed to be trusting of, they're able to just melt and break down. So of course she's better behaved with Jody. She doesn't trust Jody. She's probably scared of her. She likes to think she can still manipulate me. I gave her a pixie haircut. How kind of you, Ruby. How kind. All her long hair is gone. No more distracting with hair. R told me he would rather have a glass of water than me as a mother. And I gotta tell you, R's defiance, I mean, it's what got him out of that house. It's what saved him and his sister. It's what got this whole ball rolling. Honestly. And also, I love that no matter how hungry, how hot, how tired, he's still just like, hey, fuck off. Then she writes, big day for evil. So this is July 11th, 2023. Big day for evil, E manipulates me. She won't scream when Jody is around, but with me, she wails all night. Of course. Because she wants you to comfort her. And that's the thing. Some of this stuff is so just textbook children and just, but Ruby doesn't want it to be that way. She doesn't want to be a mother. None of this is about being a mother. None of this is about loving her children. Come to McDonald's. What can I get you? A beer, Legion. You can get me a beer. E screamed, cried, and would hit her head on the tile floor because she wants you to stop. So my daughter tells me to leave her room. She will get very upset and she will throw these tantrums and she'll be like, leave my room. And I'll be like, can I talk to you? Can I hold you? And she'll say, no, leave. So, and this was the other night, right? Because she didn't want to get ready for bed. So she decided to throw a fit. She is 4. She is at the point that she is overtired. So fine. I will leave. That's fine. I will happily leave. So I left and she was crying and she was kicking the wall and she was yelling. And I just went back in there and I said nothing. And I stood there for a second. She knew I was there and she wouldn't look at me. And I just said, come here. And she just ran into my arms and she like folded. She's upset. She's tired. Your daughter is tired. She just wants her mother to hold her. And it doesn't matter how old we get. It doesn't matter if we're 9. It doesn't matter if we're 39. We want our mothers to hold us. When we are sad, when we are in discomfort. Today, Jody confronted her. E admits to putting on a show for her mother. E says she wants to be pitiful. How does a 9-year-old know what pitiful is? Like, I want to be pitiful. R was told to stand in the sun with his sun hat. He is defiant. The way she writes is so weird. I tell him a couple more times. R, or I should say his demon, stays in the shade. Okay, anything else? Bacon Bear's cheeseburger with extra bacon and extra sweetness. And that's the other thing. Does the demon have a name? And where is she? Is she standing in the sun? Or is she in the shade? Because if she's in the shade, doesn't that indicate that she has a demon that also wants to be in the shade? I push R into the sun, but R comes back. I come back with a cactus poker, and when I poke his back to get his attention, R doesn't even flinch. Oh, thank you, Legion. I poke him on the neck. He is in a trance and doesn't appear to feel anything. Jody slaps him on the cheeks to wake him up. Let me ever see another adult person slap my son in the face. Girl, I will go to jail for my children. If another adult human being put their hands on my children, I would 1000% send me to jail. I look great in orange. Let's go. I don't. How you as a mother can stand back and watch another adult human being slap your kids. And again, it's about bullying and control because she likes it. The devil doesn't like when you get your subject to anger to truth. What? The devil doesn't like when you get your subject to anger to truth. What does that mean? R, do you know I love you? R replies, yes, ma'am. R, do you know Jody loves you? Yes, ma'am. R, do you know the Savior loves you? Yes, ma'am. Interesting. If the Savior is the most important one and he's the devil, it's funny that you come first, then Jody, then the Savior. Also, can he not call you mama or mom or mommy? R wants out of his out times. After our talk, R stays in the shade. I take my old mop water. 7? I take my old mop water, go to R. I show R the water. Then I pour the water on R. It's hot outside. It feels good, doesn't it? An hour later, Jody takes R on a little walk to the pool. She talks on how R has love twisted. R has love twisted? Imagine asking your son if you love him and then dumping mop water on him after you just made him stand in the sun. But he's the one who has it twisted. Okay. If R likes something someone does, he calls it love. Isn't that also what you call it? They are supposed to be 100% obedient? If he doesn't, he thinks it's not living. Loving? Living? Jody then pushed R into the pool. R swam to the side. Jody pulled him out. Feel good, refreshing? Yes, ma'am. I went out a couple hours later and asked if he wanted the pool again. Yes, ma'am. Will you let E push you in? R laughed. Then I tried not to act too excited. R cooled off and went back to his spot. I put my hands on his face. R, have you ever heard someone talk underwater? Yes, ma'am. What does that mean? I know R is in there somewhere. I know deep down under all this anger you can hear me. It may sound like I'm underwater with you, but hear me. I love you. R got teary. He got teary-eyed because his mother showed him a fraction of a moment of softness. I refuse to say love because none of this is love. Then I put my hand tightening over his mouth and nose. Jesus Christ. I am coming to you. This all makes me want to cry for these children. It does. It does. And she wrote this. She wrote this with her full fucking chest and was like, I'm gonna jot this down. Dear diary. I am coming to you in this water and putting my hands on your nose and mouth. The devil lies and says I'm hurting you. But R, what am I really doing? You're putting oxygen on me to help me breathe. Yes, that's right. She is a disgusting excuse for a human being. Honestly, if you can treat a child this way, death penalty. I don't get it. I don't understand. And that's the thing. She had 6 of them. 6. And I think that these 2 got it the worst, but I don't believe that she started with them. I think that the abuse started well, think about it. Her oldest one, Sherry, went no contact with her. I am wondering if the older children will ever come out and say anything about it. I don't want to say I hope they do. I mean, I do hope they do if it's peaceful and comforting to them to tell their story. R looked like he wanted to beat me up this morning. No shit. Trust me, I look like I want to beat you up every morning. And I do. I would love to. Just me and you. I just want to talk. I just want to talk. And then he was intrigued and interested. And then 2 hours later, he drinks water from the hose. Steals water. He steals water. R is compulsive. He feels no remorse for his choices. He shuts down and he says he wants to go to jail. Yeah, I would too. Jail will provide me with clothes. They will provide me with food. They will provide me with showers and toilets and climate control and books and pens and maybe television, maybe the internet. It's funny because I'm making an active, what's the word? I'm making an argument for prison. He's like, I want to go to jail. Yeah, jail sounds great compared to this, where she takes away his shoes and makes him walk in the desert. She makes him do what she calls manual labor all day long. She does not feed him. She does not give him water. She bathes him in mop water. He has no comprehension of what throwing your life away means. Well, bitch, you're about to. You are about to. And I hope that you get the comprehension over the full extent of whatever the sentence is. I hope you get all of it. R says he worships the devil and has no interest in changing. R is my hero. R's defiance is perfection. I want the outcome of being changed, but I don't want to do the work that it requires. R doesn't actually know what jail means. He has no comprehension of what throwing your life away means. R just wants the immediate gratification of sitting in the air conditioned car ride to juvie. He wants stimulus. R is so back and forth. Doesn't your lazy ass sleep in a comfy bed in the air inside? Don't you get to eat? Don't you get to drink water? Jody's got a comfy bed. Jody doesn't look like she's missing any meals. Isn't that what anybody wants? Home, food, water, necessities that we need to live, shelter, food, and water. R stole water again. He was angry and looked like he wanted to fist up. Are you 12? He looks like he wanted to fist up. I put my hands on his shoulders and told him I love him. I told him he has no idea what he's doing, but I do. I can help him. I told him to give your demon friend a message for me. I will not rest. I will not stop. I will not leave. I will fight him until the demon in you dies. I have the power of God. He will obey me. I beat Satan. I win. Then I looked R in the eyes, and with the power and authority, I commanded, "Get out now! Go!" R immediately smiled, cried, slumped, softened. The demon was gone. He left. You know, how come I mean, I'm not Mormon, so I don't, or what are they? Latter-day Saints of Jesus Christ. I don't understand. I'm Catholic, but isn't there like a priest that you could call for like exorcisms? Isn't there some Bible verses that you could read? Isn't there prayer? Isn't there anything that you could do? And that's why I don't believe that any of this is religious. She just throws a bunch of shit at him, and then she's like, "Oh, you have the devil in you." There's like no sign of any sort of religious aspect other than her saying that he's a liar and he has Satan in him. And also, how do you have the power of God? Since when did God come down on you and was like, "Ruby Franke, vlog mom, I bestoweth the power on you"? I am so confusion. I took E and R on a car drive to the Shivwitz gas station. I told E she was never going home. I showed her pictures of her on the swing under the big tree. She saw a girl who was hiding, who enjoyed tricks. I told her I saw a daughter of God with diving worth. E manipulated during the car drive. R appeared to soften. Did she say that? Was E like, "Yeah, this girl likes hiding and enjoys tricks"? What is this? I stopped the car. We all got out to view the sunset. I told E she needs to stop her fantasy. She is not innocent. She can become innocent through repentance. Don't waste more time. R and E have been counting days. R didn't know it was his birthday. Blacked out section. E told me she figures they had been here 8 weeks. I asked if she felt like she had made progress over the last 8 weeks. Yes. I told her she was delusional. Again, moving the goalpost. Do you feel like you've made any progress? Yes, I do. No, you didn't. Then why even ask her the fucking Why even ask her the question if you already have the answer for her? She has made no progress. She continues to lie and manipulate. Last night, her screaming and trance headbanging were evidence of no change. You hide her in a closet. You don't feed her. She doesn't get a bed to sleep on. They get handcuffed. If they get cuts or bruises, you put on you put on you put on cayenne pepper sauce and honey and saran wrap. I'd be screaming too. All right, so now we're in July of 2023. We took the kids on a 4-hour car ride. We stopped at the Gun Lock Lake, and I shared my love for them. We watched a baby cow get loose and walk into the road in front of us. I made the analogy of the not-so-wise calf to them. See that dumb cow? That's like you guys. I can't. I was keeping them safe when they want to run into the road. We drove up to Vigo. I bought a volcano pie. I told the kids the pie was to thank Jody for her home care time. R appeared engaged. E was manipulative because no matter what she says or does, she will always be a manipulative liar. This is the day E anticipates breaking her 2-day fast. When we get home to Jody's, I let R know E has hardened her heart and will do one more day of fasting to invite her to be humble. She flips out and begins ranting because she's hungry. She refuses to get up. She lies on the floor all day speaking dishonest chants because Jody is on the phone with clients. Can you imagine being the client on that phone? Good for her. Good for E. I don't go in and match her level of aggression all day. She makes rhymes about me. My mom starves me and calls it fasting. My mom won't lift a finger and bring me food because all she does is lie on the bed and eat brownies. My mom says she is the most loving mom in the world. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, E. If I can't ever go home, then what's the point of being obedient? I'm going to run away. Jody helped me intervene after work. Allowing lies to be spread gives the devil a platform. No, the devil was given a platform when you started 8 passengers. Articulating lies reinforces possession. The longer the lies are allowed to be spread, the larger the intervention and physical the intervention needs to be. I cut more hair off E's head, and we doused her with the dog wash. E said she wanted to run away. Jody told her she has no idea what is waiting for her. And I'm sure in E's mind, anything can be better than this. Anything has to be better than this. I may have forgotten to write this on the 11th. I took our face in my hands and spoke to him. Through love you. Huh? Through love you, I told him to send the demon a message for me. I will not give up. I will not leave. I'm not going anywhere. Get out. Or release the demon. And he has been very workable ever since. This morning is the 13th. R broke his fast with brown rice, lentils, black beans, chicken, and water. Also, how come your kids can have brownies or volcano pie? How come you get to have that? A hornet kept buzzing around his chicken. I told R to think of the hornet as Satan. Would you become pals with Satan? Would you sell your soul or chicken to a hornet? He will sting you in the end. Which is so funny because the person that he is supposed to love and trust the most and the person that he is supposed to feel safe with stings him every single day of his life. R trapped the bee with his sun hat. E broke her fast with cheesy potatoes, steak, water, oatmeal, and water. E is full of piss and vinegar. She is as mad as a hornet. She doesn't call the shots. See, it's so funny. And you know, what's interesting is she talks much more about the demon being an R instead of E. E is full of piss and vinegar. She doesn't call the shots. Whereas R, it would have been his demon or Satan, or that's different. It's been about 90 minutes since R ate. I warned him that food would either encourage him to truth or defiance. He is defiant again. He pooped his pants and telling me no. His poop is too watery to be fasting. Maybe his poop is watery because he has to steal hose water. R admits to stealing water 3 times yesterday. R lies and feels no remorse. E is cheating. At what? At Yahtzee? What is she cheating at? These selfish children who desire only to take a lie and attack have zero understanding of God's love for them. They don't know Jody is selling her home, this priceless Snow Canyon gem, so she can purchase land where these two can work. This is the most entitled, just... She's selling this Snow Canyon gem so that we can use my children for child labor. Jody has been looking for property with cactus, and it's feeling more eminent these days to get these kids to open land. She is willing to consider less than ideal property for them. How kind of her. It is a spiritual matter. I can't in good faith leave her with these 2 gremlins. I won't do that. These are God's children. It doesn't matter when souls are on the line. So are they gremlins or are they God's children? How do you write that like in the same line of a paragraph? I can't in good faith leave her with these 2 gremlins. I won't do that. These are God's children. 1 hour later, we moved quickly. Jody is going on a road trip to look at property in Arizona. Ruby has some cash in the bank. Is she referring to herself in the third person? If the property is right, we can move on financing immediately. We decided the escalation of the kids is not manageable here. The escalation of the kids is not manageable here. This is where I start to think that if they were to actually move, these children wouldn't make it. The children are escalating. We need to get them to somewhere more remote. Now R is sitting angry, defiant. E is lying on the floor. We will bring them in, or I will clean R out in the desert, as he has pooped himself. He will then stand on the patio, shaded. Now I'll see him from the kitchen. I will bring him into the cool house. She can lie in the pantry. They will think they won. They will think they got what they wanted. They will. Then pop. We will drop them like hot potatoes out in the desert. Their new home. You're going to get exactly what you asked for. What did they ask for? Are they going to get food? Are they going to get water? Are they going to get a new mom? Oppositional force is required for growth, development, maturity. E and R have never experienced oppositional force. They are very weak-minded. 2 children at the ages of 9 and 11 should not be experiencing oppositional force. Like, what's oppositional force to somebody at that age? Not getting along with somebody at school, right? Like, I don't understand what she means. Oppositional force is required for growth. Okay, so let's talk about growth of a 9 and an 11-year-old. What is that growth? That looks like teaching your children honesty. That looks like teaching your children responsibility, about confidence, about how to make good decisions. You have to show them these things. Where are they going to learn it? They don't just know it. Development and maturity comes from typically the parents, but it's funny because they seem like emotionally they are more emotionally mature than Ruby is at 41. And also imagine calling your own child weak-minded. And also, how is it that you can say that they are weak-minded and then use that same term while you're trying to get out of prison and being like, "Oh my god, Jody brainwashed me." I'm so embarrassed because I allowed her to do that. Isn't that weak-mindedness? When you allow someone to tell you how to treat your kids, when you allow someone to tell you that it's okay to abuse your children, when you allow someone to abuse your children, isn't that weak-minded? Isn't it weak-minded to abuse your children because you need so badly to be in control? Pattern. I don't know what the pattern is. Sending an evil away in a long time possessed person is not a one and done deal usually. Oh, have you always dealt with demons? What are the other demons? What is your on your resume of being an expert in exorcisms? What is your laundry list of people? What are the demons you have exorcised? How do you know that this is not a one and done deal? These wicked spirits in E and R have been pals long before this life. How do you know them? You have yet to name them. Have you seen them? How do you know they have a personal relationship? Maybe they don't even speak the same language. How E and R got to come and get a body can only explain. What is this writing? How E and R got to come and get a body can only explained in the advocating to be their mother. How E and R got to come and get a body can only be explained in the advocating to be their mother. What does that even mean? This is not a conceited statement. Bitch, if you have to follow up something that you wrote with "this is not a conceited statement," God knew I would take my responsibility to mother seriously. Really. Really. Because as an active mother myself, I have yet to see you mother once. I have yet. To mother a person is to provide, right? To provide safety, to provide nourishment of not only the body, but the soul and the brain, to provide love, to provide guidance, to provide care and understanding and empathy and compassion. Any one of these things? Pick one. Anyone. I don't care. Just one of them. God knew I would take my responsibility to mother seriously. Where have you mothered? Where? When? I'll wait. You got time. Jody teamed to help. These two souls are very weak of end. They are fools. They are fools. Truly, E said she would choose the devil over God. What arrogant spew. Who speaks like this? God is patient not to split her with a bolt of lightning. My head hurts. You do not tempt a God who controls your very breath. The disdain and hatred they have for God is beyond my ability to describe. I would also hate a God that requires me to starve and be physically assaulted and get zero sleep. And if that is what it took to love God, yeah, I can understand why they hate him. Because you keep telling them that they need to do all these things in order to love God or be a child of God, and then they do it and you tell them that they're wrong anyways. So of course they're going to say that they hate him. They hate you, and you hate them equally. No mother that loves her children could do this. There is not a mother out there who actively, truly loves her children that could do this. My spirit is offended. I shudder to think I would never have seen this had I not pushed them. Holding boundaries will show you how much possession a soul has. It's interesting because her boundaries are like always at stake, right? She talks about her boundaries. And when she had the vlog and she talks about her house and her rules, and these are my boundaries, but she doesn't afford those same courtesies for her children. Her children don't get boundaries. They don't get autonomy. They don't get to make their own decisions. They don't get to be people. I shudder to think I would have never seen this have I not pushed on them. And yeah, if you push your children to the limits, you're they I mean, and they still strive to do, when you're in an environment like this, you always think you never want to believe that your parent can be bad. And when they're in an environment like this, they just want to believe that at some point their mom's going to change, right? Their mom is just going to be different. And she just never is. Holding boundaries will show you how much possession a soul has. The more boundaries, the more the soul will reveal itself. Trial will reveal a soul because of the inherent limits built into a tribulation. Yet, when they put up boundaries or when they push back because you've gone too far, you freak out. And then you take away their food and you take away their bedding and you take away all the stuff that they need to survive and live. Whenever they put up a little bit of a boundary, you're like, oh my God, no, fuck you. Like, it's so wild. I've never seen a more just, there's zero self-awareness. Back to sending evil away, articulating truth drives evil away. This is a powerful intervention for the possessed, even if you can start by agreeing to something truthful. You are a daughter of God. True? Yes, ma'am. Principle. What does that mean? Following up on the articulating a desire for evil to leave with a demonstration of obedience is powerful. Demonstrating a willingness to follow truth is a pattern the Savior used in his interactions. Go sell all you have and follow me. Go and sin no more. Go and wash 7 times. Go and tell no one. Go and tell the city. Go and preach my gospel. Go feed my sheep. Strictness is not the issue here. Discipline is not the issue. This woman turned her own fears into a psychotic mindset. I 1000% agree with you. I 1000% agree with you. If you can engage a weak-minded soul in a physical activity of obedience, you can begin to break the bond Satan made with the weak. Using religion as the vehicle. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's so funny because like she brings in, and talks about religion, but there's never any sort of like religious aspect to it other than calling them Satan. Like there's never Bible verses or prayers. I mean, she throws a Bible at him once and is like, read this, you're going to need it. Like, I think that was more of a way to be like, no, I'm doing this because of religion instead of just being like, no, I'm on a power trip. Because she just says like they're Satan and they're, they're possessed, but why not pray with them? Why not, there was just no like, there was no punishment with religion. If you get what I'm saying, like I'm trying to just say like, she punishes them in all these ways, but never once does she punish or discipline them. Or even with the Bible, right? Like take a punishment out of the Bible. All she's like, I'm going to take your food away and beat you. Um if you can engage with a weak-minded soul in a physical activity of obedience, you can begin to break the bond Satan made. Like, did Jesus beat his disciples? Exactly. Exactly. With the weak, physically stop the acting out behaviors and begin physically doing good. Farm work, lifting boxes, exerting energy, exercises, jump rope, milking cows, weeding a garden, digging trenches. Satan cannot be where there is good. Satan cannot, then how is it so present in your household with your children? Begin doing and sweating for good, heavy physical intensity. Capture your attention. The problem for number and R, I maybe E, is the hard labor, is all for the sake of lifting, does not have the meaning or do good. We need property where a ranch can be built. Good can be done. Outcomes of prosperous chores can be seen, experienced, and felt. And the kids need a good kick from a horse and a cactus to run into. They need natural outcomes. Again, I will bring up the example of the other day when I personally was out weeding my garden. I didn't ask my 4-year-old to come help me. She wanted to. Your children emulate the things that you're doing. If you want to show them good, you have to do good. When was the last time Ruby Franke lifted a box or did a wall sit or picked weeds? You cannot just tell your kids to do things. They aspire to be like their parents. Who are you going to be? And whoever you're going to be is who they're going to strive to be. If you are a hard worker and you do chores and you try to live a good life, your children, hopefully, there's one-offs, don't get me wrong, but your children will hopefully try to emulate those things and follow in your footsteps. And you don't want your children to follow in your footsteps completely, but let's talk about the basic values. You want them to be kind. You want to teach them how to share their space, share their time, share their things. You want to teach them how to have responsibility and do chores. You have to have responsibility and do chores. You cannot do the fun things if you don't do your chores. Same for the adults. Before I had my kids, somebody told me if you ground your children, you are also grounded. And I didn't really understand what that meant. And now I have my children. And, my daughter, I told this story a while ago, but there was an issue where she couldn't go to a Super Bowl party. Guess what? That was a rule that we made for her. I also could not go to the Super Bowl party. That was the consequence of her actions. I had to suffer the consequence of those actions. But I also needed to teach her something in that moment. If you don't do the things that are required of you, then there are certain things that we can't do. And also, I have talked multiple times about the punishments fitting the crime. And you will never, ever, 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 ever get me to agree to the fact that a punishment, a good punishment is taking away a necessity of a child. Food, water, shelter, bed, none of it. None of it. Like, I get the point of giving chores and raising children who can work productively. I have 2 children. My son will be 8 this year and he is autistic. And then I have a 4-year-old. She will be 5 this year. Both of my children have chores. They actively have chores. but we also have age appropriate chores. My son is required every day to empty out his backpack and put his backpack, hang it up in his room. He is required to help us clean up any messes, cars, guys, Legos, anything that he takes out. He is required to put his shoes in his room. And then he's required to bring in the recycling bins. When he comes home from school on the day that we get the recycling bins, he's supposed to bring those in. My daughter, her chores are when we leave, she likes to put the dog in the crate. Sometimes she helps, she's 4 now. She helps me feed the dog. She helps me put dishes in the dishwasher and take the dishes out of the dishwasher. Sometimes she'll help me sweep. She is required to put laundry in the laundry basket. If I lay out her pajamas, she's required to put them on. Like, there's age appropriate responsibilities. You can't just be like, oh, these kids are going to run a farm. They're 9 and 11. Oh, and also, they've never lived on a farm. They've never known these responsibilities. They lived in a mansion because I was a vlogger and made millions of dollars a year. But now we're going to live on a farm. Also, all the kids need is a good kick from a horse and a cactus to run into. They need natural outcomes. Natural outcomes are great, right? I am a big advocate of play stupid games, win stupid prizes, okay? I tell my kids, my daughter and I, all the time. My son is a one and done. If I tell my son not to do something, typically he is a very good listener. My daughter is a little bit more defiant, and that's fine. Also fine. However, if her safety is in danger, for example, she likes to play hot lava, and yesterday she took these little Mickey chairs. They are not stable, and she put them on the carpet, and she was jumping off of them. And I told her, I said, baby, please don't do that. I don't want to see you get hurt. Let's put those back and pick something else. And she goes, I want to use these. And I said, we're not going to use them. We're going to put them back and we're going to pick something else. So we put them away. And then I went to another room and I came back and they were out and she was standing on them. And as she was standing on them, I said, look, here's what I'm going to tell you. I told you to get down from there and put them away because I don't want you to get hurt. So if you choose to jump off of those and you get hurt, not one tear. I don't want to hear it. And she goes, okay, maybe I'll get down and we'll pick something else. But like, I understand natural outcomes. Like your kids are going to do something and they need to learn for themselves. And I mean, if it was super dangerous, there would be no question I would take it all away. But sometimes they need to learn. And I don't think getting kicked from a horse or a cactus to run into is a natural outcome. Nor do I wish my child to learn through pain. Let me tell you something. I have had this conversation with my daughter 8 million times every day since she's been born. I actively try to tell her things to keep her alive and help her. I don't tell you things because I like the sound of my own voice, even though I do. But I don't tell you things because I want to be annoying. I tell you things because I've been on this planet 35 years longer than you have. 34 years longer than you have. Yeah, because she'll be 5 this year and I'll be 39. Anyways, doesn't matter. Way longer. I'm telling you things because I want to keep you safe because I love you. There is never a time where I'm like, I hope my kid gets hurt. They deserve natural outcomes. Like the hatred that is just oozing through these writings is disgusting. I asked R what he was thinking about since he was sitting in the shade, and he had what he wanted. R answered, what I want. Me, what do you want? R, more different foods in a soft bed. Me, why don't you ask Satan? Fucking bitch. Do you think Satan will give you these things? No. Well, then are you Satan? Because you're also not giving him these things. Why not? R, because he doesn't have the power. Me, Why would you serve a God who has no power to give you your desires? Dumb. R. Silent. When I was little, if I got hurt, my parents would say, do it again so you'll learn. I hate that. No. Although I mean, never do it again. But I do tell my daughter, like, there are some times where she does something where I actively tell her not to do something, and she's like, Mom, I got hurt. I'm like, what did we learn? That I shouldn't do that. And I'm like, yeah, you got to learn from your mistakes, but don't do it again. I wouldn't want to see you do it again. E had another episode with demons. She gives herself to them. She agreed to stop being deceptive with her facial expressions and crying and whining. I would be so deceptive, I guess. I cannot hide anything on my face. And crying and whining, she's hungry and tired. Whining is the devil's voice. Whining is always a demon. Then every 4-year-old is a demon. Every kid who can talk until they're 12 is a demon. Kids whine. They complain. They have attitudes. They throw tantrums. It's a part of development. Isn't that what you talked about earlier? E, hurt. Facial expressions blame me for her misery. Yeah, I would also blame you. I'm blaming you for my misery right now. Yes, I chose to read these things, but I am miserable. I would never tell that to my children. I wouldn't either. It is E at the center for her misery. Her face is deceptive. After E did stairs, she sat on a park bench looking at mountain views. She was told to sit and be still and eat her dinner. Carrots, hummus, grilled cheese, water. E, in power play, brought her empty plate to the door and then removed her sun hat. Okay. Let's just break that down. E in a power play. The weird like point of contention she has with control with her daughter and not her son is bizarre to me. In a power play, she's 9. And she brought you her plate. Probably because it goes in the kitchen sink. Would you not have punished her had she left her plate outside? That's what I'm saying. She consistently moves the goalposts. These children can never win, no matter what they do. If they do it right, they lose. If they do it wrong, they lose. They just lose. Another redacted section. E woke up. I reminded her that if she whined, cried, or squinted her eyes at me, or soured her face, I would be buzzing her hair. Imagine waking up. You open your eyes, and that's the first thing out of your mother's mouth. If you whine, cried, or squint your eyes at me or sour your face, I'm buzzing your hair. Ugh. If she is going to act sick, then she can look sick. She agreed with a smile. I told her because she didn't listen the night before, she would do 2 sets of boxes, stairs with a 5-minute break. She did the first set easily and agreeably. After 5 minutes of rest, she began whimpering. When she got to the bottom stair, she slipped and dropped the box. I put her in the dog wash and shaved her head. Then back to the boxes. Do you think that maybe she slipped and dropped the box because she's tired? Because she's malnourished? Because she needs some water? Because emotionally she's fucking drained? E refuses to work. Screams. Has hair shaved as punishment. E, yes, ma'am, with tears. I love that she adds that, like a little, just like, with tears. Me, it's heavier than boxes, right? E, yes, ma'am. Me, E, I can help you find relief. You have told so many lies about me that you refuse to be obedient. Why do you keep being buddies with Satan? E, I don't want to work. Of course she doesn't. She's 9. I don't want to work. I'm going to be 39. Don't you see it's because you follow Satan that you keep doing boxes? If you were humble, you would be inside making pancakes with Julie and me. Ew. There is nothing that I hate more than a parent that will compare one child to, why can't you just be more like Julie? I can't stand that. You parent the child in front of you. Never all children at the same time. Never, why can't you be more like your brother? Because you're not the same people. Well, your brother does it. Nobody cares. You parent the child in front of you. He agreed to sit on the park bench and think about her choices. I made it very clear. And that's the other confusing thing is she's like, you need to think about your choices. What are her choices? She has no choices. She has no ability to make a choice on her own. And every choice that she does make is the wrong one. What are the choices? I made it very clear that if she were to move, get up, fidget, talk, take her hat off, she would go back to work. So you can sit there like a statue, and if you move, you get back to work. I agreed eagerly. She promised to be obedient. After an hour on the bench, Eve began moving and looking around. I pulled her into the house and gave her more boxes. After an hour, she's 9. I could not sit somewhere for an hour and not move. I couldn't do it. Not to R. What is that? Me, you like sleeping on the hard ground? I slept. Oh my God. And this is just her showing she's a true bully. You like sleeping on the hard ground? I slept in a soft bed. R, I slept really well. R is a hero. You are mean. Do you enjoy being mean? R, yes, ma'am. Me, do you expect me to feed you? R, yes. Me, I get B and G over him. B and G? What is that? I will feed R. I will not feed a demon. So I will check on you in a bit, and if you want food, then be prepared to tell me the truth about your behaviors. Tell the truth of who I am. An hour later. Are you ready? R. No, ma'am. Me. So you would rather have no food and worship the devil? R. Yes, ma'am. Dude. R is the man. And E too. I mean, I can't imagine being either one of these children. E does one set of books decently, 10-minute break. E upset to do boxes, gets them done. Sits on park bench 1 minute, then picks Jody's blossoms off plant. Defiant. More boxes. She refuses. Goes to sleep on basement floor. R, stand up. Stop picking your nose. The kids both pick their noses until they bleed. Distraction. Me, are you happy? R, no. Me, following Satan does not make you happy? Shocker. So Satan can't feed you? Who is supposed to feed you? His mother, bitch. That's who's supposed to feed him. R, God. Me, and R, Christ. Me, this is a game you play. Who brings you food? R, you. So he says God and Christ, which is supposed to be who he's worshiping, but it's her. Who brings you food? You do, Ruby. You want to leave the demons? R, I don't want to be humble. Me, I told R I wanted to give him dinner with chicken. He needs to acknowledge his behavior. He tells me he is missing his opportunity to repent. This is not acknowledging his behaviors. I tell R he is treating me and Jody the way he believes he really deserves to be treated. I bring him dinner of brownie, beans, lentils, and water. He takes the bowl and begins eating. I say, no, thank you. Are you going to acknowledge the woman you've been abusing just brought you dinner? The narcissism in that sentence is wild. What? No, thank you? I've starved you for days. Aren't you going to thank the woman that you have been abusing? Even though you have no shoes, no bed, no food, no water, and I brought you food, aren't you going to thank me? Well, I would say thank you, but I wouldn't really mean it. Well, she asked for honesty. Me. With that, I reached down and grabbed his dinner and water and said, wow. Wow. R tried going back on what he said with some explanation, and I stopped him. I will not talk with a demon. Your soul is damned, and I will not hear your damnable words. Straight to bed. He has started walking stairs without a box. She is now slipping and falling on purpose. Maybe because she's hungry. When E was outside today, it was hot. She acted like she was dying. So pitiful. I told her, E, the heat in hell is much hotter and God is going to burn the wicked. So either get used to it or start changing. E replies, I don't really believe that's actually going to happen. Kids are all in bed. E ate mashed potatoes and turkey and milk. Jody and Jay are looking at RV trailers. Those kids have no idea the sacrifices being made for them or Jesus' sacrifice already made. So the other two daughters are in and out of the house, I believe, or in the house. Saturday, there are days and nights that reveal God's most poignant mercies and miracles. Last night, God gave me a miracle I will absolutely never, ever forget. I know when God gives you an errand and you do the best you can to fulfill it, he will protect you. I went to bed around 12:10 a.m., E on the floor next to my bed, R on the patio outside my sliding glass window. She has her children sleeping like they're dogs. E on the floor next to my bed and R on the patio outside of my sliding glass window. R runs away around 1:15 a.m. Ruby finds him at 3:14 a.m. Jody, E, J drive to Arizona to find property land. Oh man, just writing this, I'm shaking. If Pam hadn't volunteered to take A to American Fork for her ALT test, then I would not have been here, and my life and Jody's and my family would forever be different. At 2:45, I woke straight up. I couldn't see R. He was gone. I opened the sliding glass door, and there was no sign of him. He did leave an arrangement of rocks and letters. He wrote me a message. I was too scared to read it. I ran to Jody's room and woke her up. She came out with me. The message said in pebbles, I'm going to jail. I will call when I get there. I love R so much. And also, why are you so scared? I mean, it's not because you're afraid of what might happen to your child out in the wilderness, is it? Because you let him sleep outside? Is it because of what could possibly happen to you if he ever talks to somebody? You know, so you can see when she writes, there's got to be some sort of realization that what she's doing is not right. Because she is so afraid of these children getting out and talking to people. Jody and I scoured the house and yard. Jody got flashlights and we took her car and I got mine. Fine. Oh God, oh Father, we need a miracle. We need your help now. Send the host of heavens. Show us where R is. I'm also wondering, Kevin Franke said in the jailhouse calls that he would do anything to save his marriage and he'll stand by Ruby no matter what. So my question I believe he has filed for divorce. I wonder if he read any of these. Please, please, Father, answer now. I've done everything you asked. Protect me, protect Jody, protect us. Protect us. Me. Don't protect my son that just left in the middle of the night in the wilderness, out in the middle of the desert. Don't do that. Protect me and Jody, my lover, allegedly for all entertainment. I wholeheartedly think that her and Jody are secret lovers. For sure. I heard in my head go right. I went left. What? Oh, yeah, I believe they 1000%. Because here's the thing. When Jody came into the picture, hi Terry, when Jody came into the picture and she kicked out Kevin, and then all of a sudden she's having these like possessions and Ruby's going into her room, and then finally Ruby's like, I'll just sleep in there and we'll come get you if we need you. Don't worry about it, Kevin. And Kevin's like, oh yeah, fine. No, there's some secret lover stuff going on for sure. Anyways, so God tells her to go right and she goes left and all the way around the roundabout on the main street to rule it out and make sure that he hadn't reached the main road yet. No sign of R. I turn back to go down the dip and then turn right. Oh, I'm going to have to go soon. Father, 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 hear me now. I go right, then right again. The road doesn't look familiar. I speed up to cover as much road as I can, racing the sun, racing the devil. And then I see R walking on the left side of the road. I called Jody to let her know. I turn the car around and stop. I get out of the car. R is shocked to see me. Get in the car. You shocked to see me? Not. Are you okay? I love you. R nods his head and gets in. He is in the back. Me and R in front. 2:45 I woke up. 3 o'clock we leave in cars. 3:14 a.m. I call Jody with R. The sun started lighting the roads just an hour and a half later. The devil wants me in prison. My children will dead. I met Jody back home. We deliberate in the car while R and E go back to bed. Because if she can't be happy, no one can. But this is the kind of person that wakes up just miserable every single day. And what karma? R stands in the garage where we can see him. He has zero remorse, zero fear, zero expression. He is cold, calloused, and hard. Of course he is. Angry, he isn't calling the shots. Jody and I agree to buy ourselves time until we have more of an environment conducive to an intervention. We need land. The spirit told Jody very clearly, don't let these kids' choices ruin your life. Yeah. Ruby, don't let these kids' choices that you brought into this world and now they're 9 and 11 ruin your life. Okay. We have work to do. You can force repentance to de-escalate the situation. I brought R into the house. I tied a rope to my feet and him, to my waist and his. R will now sleep in a soft bed with me. Well, isn't that a plot twist? At least he gets to sleep in a bed. 7 a.m. R slept. The devil got a bed. Jody taught exaggeration in class. Jody loaded the cooler. I put the kids in my car and took a drive. 8 a.m. a man came to look at Jody's house. 8:30 a.m. Jody and I meet at the Shivwitz gas station. Ian, Jay, and Jody took off to Tucson? Tuscan? Because aren't they going to Arizona? Is that how you spell that? I don't think so. I drive back to the house with R. H comes in the house. He doesn't leave my sight. I feed him. Who's H? Oh, he comes in the house. He doesn't leave my sight. I feed him chicken, rice, lentils, beans, but add a glass of milk. Ooh. She's feeling She's feeling gracious. She gives him a glass of milk. He sits at the counter and eats. He got what he wanted. I give him the book, Theophrastus Characters. What is that about? He gets a pen in his journal. He takes notes. To the onlooker, he appears to be well behaved, studious, a young man. And wouldn't I be thrilled? My son, who wanted to run away, is now by my side reading and writing. Wouldn't I be relieved? No. I know now that in order to keep my son happy, I will need to put him back under sedation. What does that mean? I unhooked him from all the bells and whistles and asked him to breathe and thrive on his own. He went into arrest and stress. Back to sedation we go. What does that mean? Now I'm like, what's redacted? Because the demon is still here, and I purposefully put R back into a slumber, hibernate, to watch R go into the awful state of compliance. Knowing the demon he harbors in his heart is so sick, like stitching up a patient, knowing you didn't get all the cancer out, and knowing it's only a matter of time before your patient heals. R and E do not want to repent. They hate God for their own behaviors. She probably gave him something to go to sleep. No, I agree with that, but I wonder what's redacted, like what she gave him to sedate him. R and E do not want to repent. They hate God per their own behaviors and words. I now see how perfectly reasonable people walk around hating God and worshiping the devil, yet appear like good old Joes. What? Good guys. There is even a soul-killing infection in my child, and my hand is forced to remove the infection. Agency does not allow me to rid the infection. R and E like the infection. It's so sick. 8:18 p.m. Just over 12 hours after finding R, teaching class, and leaving, Jody sends me a text. I found the land. The devil does not want us to take R and E out of society. He did not want Jody finding this property. He wanted Jody and I down at the police station at 8:18 p.m., not discovering a place to bring intervention to his entanglement of my children. Oh, how good the Lord is to those who risk everything to follow him and bring others to him. The hosts of heaven are on our side. My children will never know the sacrifices and lives put on the line to offer a chance for their salvation. R can only think that he likes the taste of milk and reading again. Who gave her a chance at salvation? She just didn't come out of the womb good. I'm sure at some point she's lied or she's been deviant. She even admits in one of her vlogs that she used everything that she possibly could to manipulate. Who gave her a chance at salvation? Who saved her? Who took her food and her bed and her clothes and her hair? Last night I tied myself to R, full night of sleep, 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., no interruptions. R showers while I watch. I shower while R is in the closet. I can see the closet doors. I shower. R eats chicken, rice, beans, lentils with cheese on a corn tortilla. 3 sets of 10 push-ups, reads. Jody is on her way home. E spent the ride lying down with face facing the back of the seat. She doesn't know where they went or why. One might ask, as I myself have, what if we had taken this slower? What if you'd been a mother? That's what I want to know. What would be different if you gave these kids a hug? Would the children have been on board if we hadn't boundaried them so quickly and so clearly? What if instead of a full day of box carrying, we would have done an hour and breaks and reading and then went back to boxes? My answer is, well, yes, the kids would have complied, but they would not be repenting. And they would have given the impression they weren't repenting. They need things to get hard, fast, intense, shocking change, immediate discomfort, stress to their systems. Why? Because they divulged their secrets. They could have confessed in truth, taking personal responsibility for the discomfort they were causing. changed the environment of the kids slowly and more unreasonably or comfortably, we would have allowed the dumb hypnosis and sleep to stay over the child. We need to wake the child up to the state of reality. Show them where they really are, the pit of hell. The hope was that they would choose to go to God for forgiveness, to admit their awful state. Instead, they wanted to lie to themselves that what they did wasn't bad. They wanted to lie to themselves. Why is that written in there twice? They wanted to lie to themselves that what they did wasn't that bad. That they were the victims. They, me, and Jody are the persecutors. That burning in hell isn't real. That God is that mad and that God doesn't even exist. Then deny the power of God. And with that, I need to go be a mother and feed my children and make them not do wall sits. Anyways, this was intense. Thanks, Terry. I'll be back on Tuesday. I try to go live every Tuesday and every Friday. And yeah, I just like discussing this case. I think it's important. I have a lot of thoughts, obviously being a mother, but also I think it's important to talk about the dangers of family vlogging and what it can do to children. And I'm just very interested in this case. I don't know how somebody could do this to children, to their own children. It's shocking to me. It's shocking. And I can't wrap my mind around it, which is why I keep coming back to this case. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please do all the stuff, share my stuff, watch it. I do have a new video up on YouTube right now. All the links are in my bio. You can follow me anywhere. Same name, all over the place. Bacon Bears 2Z. Bye, Amber. Thank you guys.